glare in my glasses. Sorry, guys. I've got to be able to read. I'm studious. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I don't think there is anything else that I love more in this world than bad films. Now, I'm not talking films that were made to be good but ended up bad. I mean films that are bad but they're good and they're aware of it. An example of this would be the Cat in the Hat film. I'm obsessed with this film. That being said, if this film was made in today's society, would it go down as well? Absolutely not. To start, we get the obvious DreamWorks and Universal logos, but they're Dr. Seussified, and I love that. I love when films affect the logos and the trademarks in a way that is related to the film. I just love it. It's quirky, it's silly, I love it. I also love that there's the little narration that goes on throughout the film, and it's rhyming because it's a Dr. Seuss book. You don't get cinema like I get cinema. The first character we see is Mom. I don't think she has a name. I don't think she was ever given a name. She's just the mom. But she is in the office and her boss is Mum is at the office and her boss is introducing the new worker. It's business. I don't understand business. I don't know business. It's business. And there's a new business guy. Don't know what to say. But the guy is new to the company and the boss is introducing him, and then the new guy's like, oh my god, thank you so much, and he shakes the boss's hand. Electric chair on the spot. Because boss is a germaphobe. So the fact that you just shook his hand, he's not having it. You're fired. Get out. The boss also tells Mom that there's going to be a client meeting and her house is the designated social area for this one. I think they take it in turns and it's Mom's turn this time. But she has 2 kids and it's known that her house is always a mess. So this time the boss is like, make sure the house is clean or you'll be fired next. So Mum goes home and that's when we meet the kids. And we have Conrad and Sally. Conrad is the typical naughty boy, goes around making messes, getting into trouble, starting fights. You get the vibe. And his sister Sally is the sticks to rules, can do no wrong, good girl, proper girl boss. We also find out that the mom has a boyfriend who is the neighbour and he has a vendetta against Conrad and he is determined to send this 9-year-old boy to military school, and the way that he's acting, he's not far from making it reality. But the secret to know about Mom's boyfriend is that he's not a good guy. He's just in it for the money, and he's trying to get the kids off as fast as he can. Mum gets called back into work, which means boyfriend has to leave, and Mum calls babysitter Mrs. Kwan to come and look after the kids. Literally 2 seconds after she arrives and Mum leaves, she's asleep on the couch. Who hired this woman? It's raining, the kids are bored, they're not able to do anything because they don't want their mum to get into trouble, they're trying to be good, and then there's this noise upstairs. So they go and investigate, because obviously, if you're bored and there's a fucking noise, you're going to investigate. And it's just the cat. There's no explanation on how or why. You would think it's a Nanny McPhee thing, where they're like, you need me, so here I am. He's just there. Why? How? Obviously, they also freak out. But not enough, because 2 minutes later they're like, yeah, okay, we're chill. And the rest of the film is them having this adventure. Why is no one caught up on how this, 6-foot-tall fucking cat is in the house? Call pest control or something. For this adventure, Cat makes them sign a contract. Because after scanning them, Sally is too much of a control freak and Conrad is too much of a rule breaker. So the contract is a way for them to have fun without having anything bad happen to them. No strings attached. Fun time. This fucking line. Somewhere around here, it's discovered that the pet fish can talk and he's basically the Jiminy Cricket of the film.
Me! Remember the fish? Came home in a baggie, loved me for 2 weeks, and then nothing!
They have a pet goldfish, and since the cat suddenly appeared, he can also talk, and the whole thing is him being the Jiminy Cricket, trying to stop the kids from doing bad things like jumping on the couch when the cat is trying to get them to jump on the couch. But no one gives a fuck about this fish. Which, honestly, valid. If a cat showed up that was 6 foot tall and tried to get me to do fun things, I'd probably do them. One, because of fear of safety, and two, why would I listen to a goldfish? He's like this small. As I said, they signed this contract and now they think they can just do whatever. So they end up destroying the house by jumping on the sofa, which the boyfriend neighbour sees and he's like, oh, gonna get you for this, bitch. And they also make cupcakes with this machine that the cat has brought, but it fucking explodes and gets crap all over the kitchen and then on Mum's dress. And in trying to fix Mum's dress for this conference thing, they get it all over the living room. It's just fucking mayhem. But the contract did say that no bad things will happen from having this fun time. So to help and to hold up the contract, Cat brings in this like big box and he opens it and out pop thing 1 and thing 2. This box that Cat brings out is also the only thing that has a rule connected to it. Cat padlocks the box closed and says to Conrad he cannot open it because it's a portal to the world that thing 1 and thing 2 and the cat is all from. It's basically Dr. Zeus land, and that if he keeps it open then it's dangerous and the worlds can merge, so it needs to be padlocked. Thing 1 and thing 2 aren't listening because they do the opposite of whatever they're told, so they have to try and figure out a way to make them do the opposite, which is what they want to do. So they have to, it's like psycho reverse, you know? That one tells truth, one only lies. You gotta, yeah. While they're trying to catch thing 1 and thing 2 and figure out a way for them to stop, Conrad ends up picking the lock of the padlock, so the lock drops off and the box opens and the lock is a crab, so the crab just walks over and attaches to the dog lead and then the dog runs away. So now they've got to find this dog that's ran away for like the 100th time from what I'm finding out. And they have to find it quick because the box is already leaking like magic into the world. So they have to hurry up to find the padlock so they can shut the box, so they can save the world. Why? What is it with films and letting 12-year-olds fucking save the world? I don't know. For a solution for now, they end up putting the sleeping babysitter on top of the box in hopes that it will keep the box shut long enough that the magic won't spill out. And this whole time she's still asleep. She doesn't have a clue. It doesn't last long because she ends up getting a phone call from Mum checking up on the kids and she says, oh, they're fine, and then hangs up and goes back to sleep. She thinks that they're fine because they have left thing 1 and thing 2 disguised as Conrad and Sally to do whatever they want in the house. But as soon as she goes to sleep again, they start fucking puppeteering her around the house. Big baddie number 1, aka Mum's boyfriend, ends up finding the dog and is happy because he thinks this will finally give him an excuse to send away Conrad. So he's like, yoink, I'm taking the dog and I'm going to Mum's work so I can prove to you that the kids are bad. So now instead of going after the dog, they're going after Mum's boyfriend, who also has the dog. They catch up to him and Cat disguises himself to get the boyfriend to hand over the dog. They hand over the dog, so now they have the dog, so they're like, okay, we've got to get home, we've got the padlock, let's run. And to escape, they go through this billboard marquee thing, and it leads them to an underground party where Paris Hilton is dancing. I really wish I was making this shit up. This is an actual thing. Why is Paris Hilton in this movie? Anyway, they end up escaping in this underground dance thing. So Mum's boyfriend turns around, gets Mum and drives home to prove that they aren't there and that they're being naughty, I guess. Because it seems like Mum is going to get home before them. They use that reverse trick that they did where thing 1 and thing 2 do the opposite and said, don't stop Mum from getting home. And then thing 1 and thing 2 pull up as police officers to stop Mum. The boyfriend isn't having none of it. He runs off home by himself. He enters the house ready to be like, aha, got you, bitch, and everything's fine. Like, the house looks clean, the kids are there, everything's fine. And he's like, what the fuck? And then Cat shows up. And boyfriend has an allergy of cats. He sneezes and falls through the fucking world. Like, he falls through the sheet and pulls down the reality, and the house is fucked. Boyfriend ends up falling off a cliff. There's water everywhere, there's these weird trees. It's basically a mix of Dr. Zeus land and real land, and boyfriend is dead. Because of this mix of worlds, they now need to locate the box, and to do that, they take a water slide ride on Mrs. Kwan, who is still asleep. I'm not much of a roller coaster person, but I would absolutely ride this thing. Like, I don't know if this already exists. I'm pretty sure there is a Dr. Zeus ride at like Universal, but is it this ride? Because I'm pretty sure it's just like a ride of Dr. Zeus, Cat in the Hat style things. No, I want this ride. I want this specific water slide layout ride, and I want to go on it. And I want the logs to be Mrs. Kwan. Anyway, they manage to find the box. Conrad closes the box, does the lock thing, and the world goes back in. But then the house is so ransacked by this magic that it just collapses. Like the ceiling falls, the structure falls, the house itself is up, but inside is just chaos. It's just carnage. Previously fallen dead boyfriend is not actually dead. He gets squeezed out the fucking garden tap, and he's covered in purple gunk. I'm pissing. Conrad ends up yelling at Kat because yes, it is fun to have fun and do fun things, but you need to have limits. And he just destroyed the fucking house. So he's pissed, saying that he needed to have a little bit more self-control. Kind of like the whole lesson that you were supposed to learn. So Kat gets kicked out of the house, and Conrad and Sally have this cute little sibling thing when they're like, we're going to both take the blame. Conrad might get in more trouble because he has the reputation of it, but also Sally was also involved in bringing down the fucking house. And Sally's like, no, it's fine. You can go. And Conrad's like, I'm not going. We'll both take the blame. It's very cute. And that's when Kat showed up, saying that there's a specific clause in the contract that they signed. The contract said that if Conrad at any point was to go against the rule that Kat said and opened the box, the contract would be null and void. AKA, you fucked up, you deal with it. But there was another opposite clause where if the two siblings made up and they realised that they can have fun as long as it is in moderation, then the contract would be reinstated again. So it's reinstated about the fun thing. So because it's back on, Kat now has to hold up his end of the bargain and make sure that he fixes the house. So Kat has this magical cleaning montage where he just fixes the house, and then after Kat does the funometer again, and they're both just right, which means Kat's got to bounce. He's done his thing, he's dipping. So maybe he is a little bit like Danny McPhee. Mum shows up and sees that the house is fine and clean. Boyfriend then shows up and he's covered in gunk and raging about how the house was a mess and that it was a different world and that there was a massive cat, but none of that is true anymore. So he just looks like a psycho. So she kicks him out. The kids aren't going to military school. The social was a hit. They get new clients. Everything is good and fine in the world. And the film ends with all three of them bouncing on the couch. It's lovely. Cat heads into the sunset. There's a narration. Family is back together. It's just cutesy. I feel like the plot absolutely diminishes how insane this film is. I mean, I don't know how much I can include in this as I explain the plot, but there's so many insane references for a kid's film. There was a boner joke.
Who is this? Oh.
That's my mom.
Awkward. Yeah.
The dirty little hoe scene.
Dirty hoe. I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
Come on, cat!
Not to mention the fruit dancer scene, as well as the Jamaican canine American dog.
American.
But on top of all this, there's one thing I need you to remember. In the film, I need you to sit down when I say this. In the film, when Thing 1 and Thing 2 were told to distract the mom, in the film, they appeared as cops. There is a deleted scene where instead of appearing as cops, Thing 1 and Thing 2 chug a bunch. Thing 1 and Thing 2 end up pissing. Thing 1 and Thing 2 end up pissing so much that it causes a mini flood that prevents the mom from getting home. There is a deleted piss scene in Cat in the Hat.
flood, there's not a cloud in the sky.
In summary, I love silly, goofy films. Give me more films where they are silly and goofy just for the point of being silly and goofy. I don't want action-based films. I don't want films that tell me about generational trauma. I want silly, goofy piss films. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And this was not good. They have no house now.